asking Stearns about it, he did, even though I don't find them to be a particularly sentimental organization, he did say, whether you believe it or not, he does take into account what a player means to the fan base, to the franchise. And if he does do that, then it's harder to find a player that's more New York Mets than Pete Alonso.
I actually, Laura, I do think so. Stearns has this side, and he probably could be more open about showing it. But this is a guy who literally would hide the radio under his covers at home in Manhattan as a kid.
So did I.
Listen to Gary Cohen and Bob Murphy, and there is romanticism about the Mets. There you go with him, and I do think he connects with that part of it. I just also think he sees, well, I'm the steward of this franchise now, and I don't want to get them into anything that I think would be stupid. So I think he's trying to balance those two things, of course. I think he wanted Alonso on the team last year, and I think he wants Alonso on the team this coming year. The question is, do you want him on the team in 2030? Especially, I think the DH thing helps, but his willingness. But at the same time, Juan Soto's on that same path. So how's that going to look in a couple of years? Assuming Soto doesn't use his opt-out coming down in a few years. So there's all kinds of different things to consider. And it's a tricky puzzle. But I to your original question about length, John, maybe I could see the Mets going 4 years. It's pretty tough to see them going longer than that.
Well, I said before the show, John, you and I and Laura were talking, and I will tell you, Scott Boras, in his own mind, got embarrassed last winter with Pete Alonso. He's not going to do that again. Pete went out and had a tremendous year, and Scott Boras is going to get somebody to pay up, and he doesn't care where it's at. Make no mistake about it. He's going to talk to the Mets about longevity. He's going to talk about fans and this and that, but Scott's going to get the money. He's going to get what he wants, and if the Mets, Pete may say, well, I'll take 4 years with the Mets. Well, if that's the case, then they're going to ante up because Scott's going to get what he wants, and I can just. That's why I'm not. I want Pete back in the worst way. I think it's going to be very difficult for the Mets to get the deal that Scott and Pete want done.